I'm sure we've all noticed that there's an influx of spiritual creators these days. They seem to have overnight just like exploded over the internet. Maybe not overnight, but over the past couple of years, like there's been a huge increase. Um, and I'm just wondering if you have ever considered throwing your voice in the mix. Hey, you guys, welcome back to You Are the Ocean, a podcast dedicated to navigating life's currents, moving in divine flow, and connecting to your inner wisdom. I'm your host, Tara, as always, and today I want to dive into a topic that I had listed, and I was like, I'm going to talk about this sort of spiritual positive echo chamber. So, question for you: have you ever considered adding your voice to the mix of all of these positive or spiritual, uh, I don't want to say influencers, but you get the gist. Creators. There we go. That's better. Have you considered it? Did you maybe think it was kind of delusional? Well, I beg to differ. I think it's ascension. Because I was there thinking, what? Me? Why would I do something like this? Like, I don't really have anything to say. I have a lot to say, actually. So that was a lie. But there are a few points that I want to bring up in this little chat about this kind of positive spiritual echo chamber idea that has been floating around in my head. This is going to be a pretty reedy episode because, well, I had been thinking lately of this idea. I had it like listed down as a topic last night in an Uber going home. Like, the ideas just like exploded. So I was just typing out on my notes the whole ride home, basically this whole episode. So I'm gonna be reading a lot, but like whatever, because like I've probably said this before if you've hung around, but I'm okay at like talking, but I find that I'm like more concise and like, I don't know, more like fluid when I write. So I actually like the way sometimes my ideas sound when I write them out better than when I try and actually just talk them out. Um, I'm sure there's a scientific reason for this, but like the first thing I want to talk about is this idea that um, maybe you don't have anything really unique to say or offer. Maybe you've learned a lot from a lot of other spiritual creators, and you're just like, but I just feel like I'm regurgitating the things that they said, and it doesn't really feel like me. Well, one, it is not a bad thing to say something multiple times, right? When people are growing and they're changing, they need to hear something sometimes multiple times before it actually is like, oh, ow, before it's actually internalized. So repeating could actually be helpful to somebody's journey. Actually, hearing something from multiple different creators can help to be that guide, be that confirmation from the universe that what they had heard before does relate to them and that they need to be listening and paying attention. I also want to add, I'm going to read out what I wrote. You are a pool of knowledge that is an accumulation of all that you are. So what if you heard something from someone else? So what if it wasn't you? You can pull that from your bank and have the magic to offer it to someone in perfect timing. Maybe that person will never come across the person that you heard it from. Maybe they're only hearing this wisdom because it was you who gleaned it and are sharing it now. And this person is showing up to hear your unique voice. That particular spark is meant to impart the knowledge that they needed to hear in the divine time that they needed it. And then I had sort of like this vision of like a rope bridge, right? Like, you know how a rope has like lots of like small strands that like twist, and then those small strands become one twist, and then it twists together even more. You get the gist, right? But each one of those strands is a part of you, like an idea, an experience, a fact that you remember, something that you learned that stuck with you. And all of those experiences are intertwining and braiding together to create a bridge. And this bridge is going to carry people over it to the next part of their journey, to the next part of their life. So you are a bridge for them to get to another part or the next step in their journey. And as they're crossing this bridge and you are imparting your knowledge, they're going to glean the bits of the things that you're sharing and take it with them. And maybe they become a bridge for someone else, or maybe whatever they took from what you were sharing helps them to get wherever they needed to be, right? So do not underestimate your specific experience to bring something different to the table, because your interests and the things that you've read or the people that you've spoken to, or the people that you've heard speak, you are collecting different things than someone else might collect from these same experiences. A word, a phrase, an idea that sticks with you may just slide off of somebody else, but there's a reason for that. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like even if we might be sort of saying some similar things, there's always going to be something unique, a different spin, a different perspective on it that I feel like everybody needs to share, because you never know like who needs you specifically, right? Who needs to hear whatever it is from your mouth, from your lips, with your voice. Um, just a thought.
And I just want to add before we move on, as you use your voice will use you. And by that, I mean your higher self, spirit, the universe will use you as a vessel. Once you begin to decide that you're taking this path, your words are going to be guided. And it's going to feel weird at first, maybe, but the more that you use your voice, the more you're going to find your authentic way of being. So don't let that scare you. If you feel like you don't have anything to say, don't worry, you will.
Another thing that might come up if you are considering sharing your voice and like whatever that looks like, the fear of making mistakes or maybe being wrong with something that you believe at first and change your mind about it later. Um, some things will resonate with you at a certain point. And as you grow and change and experience more of life and connect deeper with your intuition and the divine, maybe your impression of that or your understanding of that will deepen and expand as you deepen and expand with your connection to the universe. So, things that you might have once believed, you might have a more, what's the word that I'm trying to think of? Like, well, I lost it. But the point is that you can change your perspective on things that you once believed, because we're always going to be changing and shifting, right? And here's what came out of that idea. Trust that you are allowed to grow like every single person. You do not want to you do not want to make a mistake and lead people astray, but trust and believe that none of us is traveling alone. We all have a spiritual team that is helping to guide us on our path. Trust that your voice is guided, your hands are guided, your song is guided, and that even your mistakes have purpose. You are made imperfect by the divine. Your mistakes are meant to be made. Trying to be perfect is going against what God saw in you and what you're meant to do. Your mistakes are holy catalysts, not just for you, but for those around you. Yes, you can teach through your mistakes, and do not deprive us of our chance to learn and grow from them as well. We are a collective. We are one breath, one beating heart. We are meant to affect and push each other into ascension, whatever that means for the lifetime that you are living. Right. Some people may have spiritual awakenings in this life, and for others, maybe something that you say is a seed that you plant or a spark that ignites something that they will carry on into another life. So, like, that I just feel like that came up because not everyone is like meant to ascend in this lifetime. Like, that's why you see some people that just stay stuck in certain mindsets for the rest of their lives because we don't know the answer, but that maybe that is their path in that lifetime. Maybe they have to experience that in that lifetime. That doesn't necessarily mean that the things that you've said or done never reached this person, but maybe it just adds to whatever like karmic energy or whatever, pattern like that needs to be broken in the next life or maybe a couple lives later. You just don't know. Yeah. And I do want to add the rest of this. I had another sort of like vision while I was writing this out. There is such fullness around us once we allow ourselves to exist fully. The world becomes richer and the soil more fertile for the seeds to plant. So I had this image of like trees and flowers like growing together, like in a forest. So I basically said it's kind of like how a tree or flowers grow and they shed leaves or petals that then become the organic matter that nourishes the next life. So those are your mistakes, those fallen leaves and those petals and the leftovers as a plant is dying and letting go. The things that fall to the earth help to give nutrients to the soil. So when spring rolls around, more plants have the right environment to grow. So right. As we grow and flourish and shed again and again, we help to create a thriving ecosystem for new seeds to erupt, for other people to grow in their power. And as we grow together, we build from a barren land to the most lush and diverse forest. But it can only happen if we collectively move fearlessly with love, trust, and conviction in the universe. Easier said than done, but each small step into trust will build the capacity. It will get easier. And that leads me to like my last point that somebody might be thinking. There's so much wrong in the world right now. How can I just pretend that everything is positive? Um, I'm sure we all see a lot of things that are happening, especially if you are in the United States right now, some other countries that are experiencing a lot of like upheaval and tower energy. Um, yes, there's a lot that's wrong right now. And sometimes it could feel like it's impossible to fix or pointless to try. Um, and that's kind of what the powers that be want from us. They want us to feel powerless. They want us to sit back and feel like there's nothing that we can do and just lay down and accept our fate, right? Um, Understand that the world is the way that it is. They want you to feel hopeless because that's how they stay in power. It's like we are hijacking the system when we try and move and speak and share positivity and light. Because the world right now is full of hate, fear, and distrust. So if we're flooding it with light and love and compassion and hope for a brighter future, for a more loving and compassionate world, we, in that way, start to balance the scales. Maybe they're very imbalanced right now, but I feel like if we all just started to put our energy and our voices into trying to pull each other up as opposed to trying to drag people down, we will be able to balance those scales out. As we balance the light and dark within ourselves and we become more aware and more grounded in the world, that we are living in, and understanding that we don't have to participate in certain ways that we were taught to participate or that the other people around are participating in. We have a chance and we have a choice to shift the energy from being so deeply in this, kind of like negative, I don't know what else to call it, like that's what it is, to something that's more, something that feels more like universal love and light, which is what I believe that the universe is trying to guide all of us back to. Because we, again, are always a part of the universe, and the universe is love. So meeting that again is meeting God again, reminding ourselves that the way that things are is not the way that they need to be, and it's not the way that they should be. Um, right. And then I say, that's why the positive echo chamber, that's why the positive echo chamber is so important. Because how do we expect to change the world if we do not allow ourselves to dream and believe in a better world? Would anything that we have existed if people didn't dream of them? So that's my little call to action to you if you've ever considered adding your voice to the growing number of people who are coming onto platforms and trying to spread universal love and compassion and empathy for human beings, and who are, trying to lead others to grow and ascend and be more connected to the universe. Because, I mean, we may just be one person as it is, but if we amplify our voices, we can reach even farther. And I just really feel like we can make a difference at a certain point. Yeah, maybe it seems like wishful thinking, but like I said, if we refuse to dream and hope for better, then we've given up. No, I'm not giving up. Are you giving up? No, no, you're not. Not if you're here. Okay. I felt called to like pull like a singular card. Maybe it's just because I haven't really, really done like a lot of tarot recently, and I miss it. Should do it more. Um, but like, let's just see one card, just one, because I'm trying to wrap up, trying to not make this too long. Um, so, Spirit, what is a card for the collective? Okay, yeah, I got the Five of Swords. So look at this dude, Five of Swords. He's like stealing these things from these. Well, I don't really know what the guy on the bike is actually stealing, but in the picture, it's the swords. Why am I having such a hard time with this? Okay, so the Five of Swords energy is about kind of pulling one over on somebody, stealing something from them, and being like, it's usually becoming victorious based off of underhanded ways of being. This is the energy of the world right now. Okay? This is the energy of the world. They're stealing our joy, our peace, our love and compassion for each other. And in that way, they think that they're going to be on top. Oh my gosh. But bottom deck is the high priestess. Okay? That's us. That's you. Okay? You are seeing through all of this. You're seeing what can be. Look at the way that she's singing into this crowd. Okay, sorry it cut out because my phone ran out of space. But anyway, back to the high priestess. She is sharing her voice, and like music can resonate through people and change the energy of a crowd, so can you. So can we. So don't doubt your own power and your own wisdom and your own connection to a higher consciousness, because if you're getting the call to share your voice, then that's what's guiding you. Don't ignore it. I ignored it for a bit. I was in denial, and then I just kind of like sucked it up and realized that I was being called. because we have a choice in this world. We can be the light, or we can just let the dark just keep winning. I don't know. Just some food for thought. So yeah. Like, subscribe, comment, all the stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.